many of you might have attended the two earlier sessions which we have conducted. We
Yes,
got
yes.
very positive feedback from the participants, particularly some of the progressive growers who attended. They also found the initial two sessions quite practical and quite useful. So we are also looking for, we are going to have two more sessions. One is today, and then maybe in the month of August, we will have basically the final session for this season. So
Yeah.
today there are a couple of topics. I will not go into detail. Fabian will take us through. Fabian, just to give you some background, and maybe later Abhinav or Shaurya, if you want to add on, just the current situation this year, particularly in Himachal, we have received very heavy rains in last, let's say around 2-3 weeks. It's quite continuous and it's very heavy, devastating
Ah,
situation. Once in a decade or once in a century kind of flood situation was there. So maybe if anyone from the grower side or from our side, if you want to share the current situation, particularly with related to apple crop, how this rain and flood situation has impacting apple crop, and maybe we can also take some insights, some inputs from Fabian on that topic. So what I will suggest, let's first go through the content, what he has planned for the session, and maybe
mhm.
last we can also discuss about the current situation and what precaution needs to be taken considering the current situation. Yeah. So
Okay.
with that, Fabian, over to you.
Okay, so let's start. Let's start. I focus this training on apple tree management for summer and summer to picking task. In priority, green pruning. We're gonna speak about green pruning and also a little focus about new plantings management. Not only 1 year old, but also 2 years old new plantings. And then also about nutrition, we're gonna do a focus about bitter pit control, and we're gonna discuss about crop protection issue at the end of the.
वालेकुम सलाम।
आप सब ठीक पर
So just one request for all the participants, please keep yourself on mute, and better if you keep your camera also off, that will be better just to focus on the trainer part.
हेलो हेलो हाँ भाई आवाज
Fabian, you're on mute. Fabian, you're on mute.
واشك شكست واشك لا بس
That's okay now. Sorry. Sorry. So I
Yeah,
said.
it's okay.
Sorry. I said we're gonna speak today about summer management for apple trees. In priority about green pruning, what to do about canopy management in summer. Also a little focus about new plantings. It's time also to pay attention to our new trees, 1 year old, 2 years old trees. About nutrition, we're gonna discuss about make a focus about bitter pit control, which is very key point for the growers, and then crop protection issue in summer. So, but yeah, about the climate, just focus about the climate of the last 12 months, from last August to now. You can see this graph for Shimla, where, first of all, temperature was a bit higher than the average in winter time, but I can see that end of spring and summer temperature looks to be in the average. But the key fact is about rain. We can see the rain was the black bar here is a year compared to the maximum the last 30 years or the minimum. So we can see I heard that we have a very massive bad rain in July, but since a year the rain was very low. Much lower than usual in the last fall, this winter, and also in spring. So there is certainly some impact about pest and disease development now in summer. but well, about Srinagar, it's very. You can see as the black line is this year here, and compared to the average of the last 30 years in Srinagar. So we are always 2 to 3 degrees, sometimes 4 degrees above the average. So since a year, since the last August. So we can see that we have a very warm weather. And about precipitation, so we can see that we are barely in the average, even a bit more, sorry, than the average rainfall. So less rain than usual in Himachal, except now the last maybe July it looks to be more. And in Srinagar, let's say about rainfall are almost in the average. So this with weather impacts for sure pest and disease status today in the orchards. And we're going to see the impact later about nutrition, bitter pit, and pest and disease control. Now, first topic I've chosen to discuss with you today, it's green pruning. Why we the growers practice green pruning or summer pruning in apple tree orchards. First of all, we should remind that dormant pruning and pruning in winter induce vigor, make the trees more vigorous, and in the opposite, summer pruning calm down vigorous mature trees. For the first topic of green pruning is to calm down vigorous mature trees. Second aim of the green pruning is to improve the light penetration, the sunlight penetration into the tree, in order to have better flower buds, but quality in the bottom of trees, in order to keep in the bottom of trees productive. As you know, apple trees trend to go up and up and then to have a poor bottom. So this is why it's a good practice to keep the light inside the tree. Another reason is also to help to enhance the fruit coloration, and this especially for late picking varieties like Fuji or Pink Lady. Another purpose of green pruning is to have a better pest and disease control. As you know, bushy trees are not easy to. It's not easy to control pest and disease in a bush. Then, when to practice? This is important chart. When to practice green pruning? We have to separate two kinds of varieties. On early picking varieties, it's recommended to do green pruning after picking. We do not practice. I do not recommend anyway green pruning before picking for Gala, for example, because on early picking varieties, green pruning could repress the fruit size, could stress the trees. And so we're going to lose fruit size, and also will not help the coloration. This is very important to know. On many early picking varieties, to remove leaves before picking will not improve significantly the coloration. It's not true. But on late picking varieties, let's say as an example for Fuji, also after picking, it's highly recommended. But we can as well do green pruning before picking. We used to practice green pruning 3 weeks, 1 month before picking on late picking varieties to get to have a better fruit coloration. So what's the rule? In fact, first of all, we don't start any green pruning before end of June. We have to wait declining daylight, so after 21st June. So first rule. Second rule, the growth should growth must be completed. We should not start green pruning when our trees are still growing, or we have to reduce irrigation, or we have to, I don't know what, to reduce nitrogen, or to cut the roots, but we should not prune trees in summer if they are still growing. And then also we do that green pruning mainly in this situation of fruit load shortage. When the trees are well loaded, it's not recommended to be tough about green pruning. But here you have a good picture to show a tree before and after after green pruning. So what to remove? But first of all, the water sprouts. These long shoots above 1 meter growth, sometimes 2 meter growth. So this is we focus green pruning on these water sprouts. Also, we can heading back long branches in summer. Especially in high density planting, when the distance between the rows is 4 meters, even less. We could also heading back long branches, heading back with the shears, or also we can practice snapping to snap the long shoots. I was in China 2 weeks ago, and it's true that Chinese growers love to snap the shoots, not to cut. And I don't know in India, so growers practice the snapping. It's not bad because the shoots stay in, stop the growth.
Fabian, I think we have lost the screen. Altaf, you have taken the control of the screen.
Sorry, what's wrong?
Your screen is not visible. Altaf.
Now? Okay.
No.
No.
Altaf, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
No, not you. Altaf from the group, he has taken the control of the screen.
Just checking with Yogesh sir. 1 minute.
Yeah, okay. Continue, Fabian.
Okay. Is it okay or not now? Do you see the screen?
Yeah, it's okay, Fabian.
Okay,
go ahead.
So what I said about what to prune in summer, the water sprouts first, hitting back long branches, or when there is a situation of biennial bearing, so no fruits or very low production, we can also remove some branches, non-bearing branches, imbalanced or overlapping or inwarded branches. So we can do a tough pruning, much more tough pruning in situations where we have lack of load. Okay. Can we ask maybe participant to turn off the microphone?
Keep yourself on mute.
Yeah. Is that okay?
It's okay. You please continue.
Okay, so now let's talk about the new plantings for, let's say, 1 year old, 2 years old trees. As you know, in high density apple trees training, the first 2 years, the first 3 years, we should give the priority to the leader development and to have a good balance between all feathers. So this is why in summertime, do not wait winter to do that. We should also control the balance between the branch in summer, at least 1-2 times during the development of the trees in summer. So first of all, we should remove imbalanced feathers, crushed angles. When the feathers are a bit vigorous, it's highly recommended to twist by hand the vigorous feathers to open angles, and that also slow down the vigor. So when the branch our feathers are weak, we keep it a bit upright, and when the feathers are a bit vigorous, which you should bend twist a bit these feathers. And in winter time, we're going to have a very nice tree. And then we have, in the most vigorous situation, we have to bend downward the branches when they achieve a size of 8 millimeters. About branch bending, I would like to highlight this point. In most orchards, the growers or laborers bend too much the branch or bend all the branches. It should not be systematic. Bending branches only when we have extreme too much vigor, and bending concern only the more vigorous branches. I see many mistakes of bending, excessive bending. Just also to remind that for Fuji, we should bend downwards, like Golden also and Geromine. Gala trees should stay horizontal, and for spur type, we should not bend the branches. About green pruning and summer management, green pruning, do we have questions? 1-2 minute question, maybe one question from the audience before speaking bitter pit? Is that okay?
Shaurya or Altaf, maybe if you also want to ask on behalf of growers, please go ahead. Shaurya, Altaf, if you have any questions on behalf of grower also, please ask. Okay, maybe Fabian, you can continue.
I continue? Okay.
Yep.
Now focus about bitter pit issue. So first of all, this physiologic disorder appear in the worst condition of calcium content shortage. But always we have to bear in mind that bitter pit, calcium is the main, how to say that, the main indicator of fruit storability. So it's true that bitter pit, when we have bitter pit, it means we have a very big shortage of calcium. But anyway, calcium is very important to have a good storability of fruits. So about the symptoms, I think growers they know, but I just remind that bitter pit could impact all the production. 100% of fruits can be damaged by bitter pit, especially after in post harvest. And the symptoms are typical. This pit just under the skin, not very deep, 3 to 4, 5 millimeters deep into the flesh. So bitter pit issue. Why we have this disorder, this physiological disorder? First of all, because could have a low calcium available in the soil. That's the case for acidic pH. I think we are in this situation in Himachal, in mountainous area. Acidic pH, it means that the growers maybe do not pay enough attention to the pH, and they should bring every year, each 2 years, a calcium to keep the pH on the right level. So it's around 600 to 1 tons calcium every year to maintain a good pH and a good availability of calcium. But could be also because of the droughts, could be spring droughts or any irrigation stress, or rainfall excess in spring or in summer. So when I'm back to the climate we had this year in Shimla region, we can see we had no much rain in spring. So maybe some period was we had some drought in spring, and today we have massively we have a big excess of rain, so certainly some calcium leaching. So I would say that temperature also are always very good, so we have good growing, and unfortunately certainly good conditions, certainly good conditions to get bitter pits. Other reason why calcium fruit contain shortage because of vigor excess. When the trees are too much vigorous, calcium goes toward the leaves, the shoots, not toward the fruits. So vigor excess caused by inadequate rootstock on seedling M111, 3111, sorry. I'm sure that growers noticed already that we have less bitter pit on draft rootstock than on vigorous rootstock. Also, we have bitter pit when we have on biannual bearing. It means when the crop load is low, so we have more growth. Also, bitter pit when we have a situation of nutritional imbalance. It means excess of nitrogen, excess of potassium availability. And at the end, we have also some genetic factors, so varietal susceptibilities. It's true that Red Delicious, Golden, Jonah Gold are very sensitive. And today I can say that Honey Crunch is the most susceptible varieties to bitter pit. So do not develop Honey Crunch in India. Because this variety is very susceptible to bitter pit. But we have to pay attention to the genetic because today it's maybe the best way to avoid bitter pit is to choose not sensitive varieties. So bitter pit control, first of all, we have to reduce the tree vigor to have less bitter pit, to have more calcium in the fruits. So we could practice winter root pruning in February to slow down the vigor. Also, as I said before, green pruning would be good for late picking varieties to practice green pruning before picking. Also going to help to have better calcium content in the fruits. And also very important is to have a better fruit load control, as we have seen last training about fruit load control and chemical thinning to help the trees to have a regular yield. To have a regular yield will help also to have better vigor control and less bitter pit. As soon as we have trees with 1 year loaded, 1 year not loaded, for sure we have we're going to have bigger concern and also more bitter pits. Another point is to have a regular irrigation. So this is easy to say when we are in dry climate countries, not easy for Indian growers where we have more rain in summer. But anyway, we should know that any stress, any water stress, or not enough or too much induce bitter pit issue. And then by foliar spray, as I said, from spring to picking, as it's written, as we can see on this chart here, we can start calcium spraying from cell divisions, where anyway in one of the best efficient spraying to start early in spring, but also in summertime until picking. So we can do 6, 7, 8 spray of calcium. Let's say, I see that we're gonna see that later, but we have to do some fungicides in summer because of leaf spot and many other disease, and we should certainly add calcium spraying with all fungicides to have better calcium content in the fruits. Control also other points, so we should also reduce nitrogen availability in summer. As we have seen in Marshall in the first training, according our agronomical condition in India, certainly we have nitrate availability is good in summer, and so we should not bring too much nitrogen. We should stop nitrogen earlier in season. Keep about also this is good indicators about nutritional imbalanced. So the ratio potassium, sorry, the ratio potassium on potassium and calcium, sorry, should be inferior to 30. There is a good correlation, excess. When we have calcium issue of, if we should also have less potassium available. So this is a very well-known ratio. Potassium divided by calcium should be inferior to 30 at peaking time. And also this ratio, nitrogen plus potassium plus magnesium divided by calcium. And you can see this very nice graph from Pennsylvania State. It's a 3 years test on Honey Crisp, which is the most sensitive variety to bitter pit. And you can see this correlation with bitter pit damage until 80% of fruits damaged by bitter pit. Correlation is very good. So this is why we should also have a good nutritional balance to have less bitter pit. Especially, we should not have too much nitrogen and too much potassium available in such situation. So now, how to predict a bitter pit? I used to recommend growers to do the test with Etefon before picking. The name is Etestin test. So it's a very useful test. You can practice. You can do a sample of the method is that one, to take 10 kilo of apple 2 weeks before picking. So at that time, we should not see bitter pit, but we do a sampling of 10 kilo. We dip this 10 kilo in a bucket during 1 minute in a solution containing 2 grams per liter of Etefon. And then we place the fruit at ambient temperature, let's say 20 degrees. And you're gonna see the results. You're gonna see, Etefon is a ripening accelerators, accelerate the ripening. So 2 weeks later, so at picking time, you're gonna see bitter pit or not. And this corresponding to what you're gonna see 2 weeks after will represent the bitter pit level after almost 2 months storage. So this test could help a lot of growers to take a decision at picking time. If there is no bitter pit, well, peace in mind, they can store their fruits during 2 months and more. If there is some bitter pit symptoms, if bitter pit appear after 2 weeks, we should have a very short-term storage. Any questions about bitter pit? Or leave the question at the end?
Maybe one question regarding the ratio of potassium to calcium should be inferior to 30. When to test this? This is before you mentioned about the summer. So, I mean, around the time of harvesting, or this should be at the time of last harvest.
About what? Sorry, Yogesh?
No, you mentioned that the ideal ratio of potassium to calcium should be less than 30.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so at what stage we need to check for this ratio?
Yeah, at picking time. This ratio is when we do a sampling of fruits for mineral analysis in June, when the fruit are 40 to 50 millimeters, so it could be June. This ratio should be inferior to 30. To 30.
Yeah, but if the ratio is, let's say, not less than 30, if it is more, then we need to do the application of either potassium or calcium. Is that the?
No, it's too late. Anyway, it's too late. It's too late. It's just an indicator to tell us we have too much availability of nitrogen and potassium. This is why calcium is not well taken in the fruits.
But at that point, there will not be any solution for this to manage the ratio.
No, unfortunately, it's too late because what we can do, we can do this mineral analysis of fruits in earlier in June. So yes, in June, this ratio should be inferior to 15. I have to double check, but I think it's around it should be around 15. And then it's true. In June, it's still time to act. If we get this information earlier, we could increase the foliar spray of calcium. And you know nitrogen availability in the soil. We couldn't stop nitrogen availability. It means nitrogen is naturally released by the soil and by the rain. So we couldn't stop nitrogen in our charts. This is why we just, if this ratio is bad, we should increase more foliar spray of calcium. There's no other way.
Okay. And second question is for the growers. I mean, Fabian mentioned about ethereal test to check the status of bitter bed. So is it currently a practice? I mean, are growers doing this, or it will be a new learning for us?
You mean the tests?
No, I'm asking this to all the participants, whether they are currently doing this test to see the issue of bitter pit.
Yeah.
Any feedback from any participant?
No, we are not doing any tests.
Okay, but I think this will be quite helpful, not to decide on the storage period.
Yeah.
Yes.
It will reduce the losses significantly.
Do they practice this test already, or never heard about this?
No, they currently do not practice. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it will be quite helpful to decide on the storage. It will reduce the storage losses significantly.
Yeah, it's not as you can see, it's not difficult to practice. And I'm used to recommend this test since many years, and it's very helpful and could help growers to take good decisions. Okay.
Yeah, Altaf, Shaurya, any questions?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, my side, the question is mainly we are using the calcium as the foliar spray. We are using micronutrient or macronutrient as a foliar spray. Sir, the calcium when we are spraying as a foliar spray is immobile in the leaves. I am right?
The calcium we spray must be uptake by the fruits. There is no transfer of calcium from the leaf to the fruits. This is why also green pruning also help to have better spraying quality and to have a better because the calcium must be sprayed directly on the fruits.
Yes, sir. That was the main question because when we are spraying the calcium as a foliar spray, it is immobile in the leaves. It is immobile in the leaves. So we have seen that when we are going for a more number of calcium spray to an orchard, it shows more number of a calcium deficiency. When we are not spraying any kind of a calcium to any orchard, it does not show any kind of calcium deficiency. What is the logic behind it, sir?
You mean the calcium deficiency you see in the fruits or in the leaves?
Into the fruit, sir, not in the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm used to recommend calcium chloride. Which kind of calcium do you use?
We are using calcium chloride and calcium oxide, both.
Okay, both. Okay, I know.
Yes.
I know. Okay. No, because we have good correlation with foliar spray of calcium and less bitter pit symptoms in post harvest. This is something we have a good correlation with spraying and efficiency in general. I'm a bit surprised, but your observation.
Sir, the observation is looking like that of this when we are going to spray the calcium, suppose calcium plus boron.
Okay.
That boron helps him to translocate from leaves to the fruits. When we are spraying only calcium to a plant in a season, and when there are droughts in the season in the higher upper belts of the Kashmir Valley, then we see lot of bitter pit in that very orchard. Second orchard is in a controlled form. We are not spraying any kind of a calcium there, and there is no symptom, sir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is it the excess calcium will also have some impact, Fabian?
No. I never
No?
heard about calcium excess. I never heard. As I said at the beginning, calcium content in fruit is a good indicator of quality and storability. So I never heard of that calcium excess in fruit.
Sir, it is right to spray calcium plus boron, or we can spray single calcium oxide or calcium chloride dihydrate. What is right, sir? Calcium plus boron, or simply a calcium or calcium chloride dihydrate or oxide?
Mm-hmm. I'm used to recommend calcium chloride or calcium oxide alone without boron.
Okay, sir.
But I am,
Sir, do we analyze that the rule of the boron gets restricted to the at petal fall, and after that there is no rule of a boron till harvest?
this is what we recommend as well to use boron before bloom and petal fall.
On pink bud stage.
And also after picking in post harvest, boron plus zinc in post harvest, but not during the season.
Yes, sir. Most of the farmers are using boron at the post harvest stage, and they are getting the better results. What is the logic behind it, sir?
Yeah. I said okay, boron after harvest. Okay, but I'm not used to recommend the boron during the season. But all depends
Okay,
on your
sir.
boron.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. So about now, let's speak about crop protection. Fungicides. So here a graph to show all the most fungus we have to control during summer. So apple scab. I don't know the status today, but apple scab, if we have a scab on the leaf or leaf spots, Alternaria and Marsonina, but also could be sooty blotch and fly specks. As we can see on these charts, what's important to keep in mind is that we have primary infection of sooty blotch and fly speck in spring. So
Fabian, you're on mute.
okay, sorry.
Maybe please repeat last couple of sentences.
So about crop protection, sorry. I said that we have to control many diseases in India, from apple scab, leaf spots, sooty blotch, and fly speck. And what's important to see in this graph is that primary infection of most of these diseases start also in spring. We can see the symptoms. Symptoms are visible at picking time, a bit before picking and post-harvest. But primary infection are in spring and develop in summer. This is why it's very key to have a. We have to control scab. We focus on scab in spring, but we should always think about all these disease. Also, second point to highlight in this graph is about apple scab. We said that in our first meeting, scab is very aggressive around bloom time, not very aggressive in summer because in foliage mature, and when the leaves are mature, the scab not expand, but fruits are still very sensitive to scab 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks before picking, and that it could occur also some scab in post-harvest. So about the control, recommended control. So what we can see in summer, we still have Marsonina blotch to control an Alternaria leaf spot, which could occur big defoliation, important defoliation of trees. We have also to control still apple scab if there is some scab in the orchard, and also to prevent sooty blotch and fly specks. This is why always the combination in summer of SDHI product plus a contact like Dodine or Captan or Propineb are still, I think, the best solution to control all this spectrum, all this fungus. Then in pre-harvest, so it should be 40 days before picking, we should also control storage disease. And I think today that SDHI are also plus the triazoles or Tebuco are still one of the best solutions to control well this range of fungus. We could damage fruit in storage from Gliosporium, Penicillium mainly, and Alternaria. And in post-harvest, it's true that we should certainly keep some fungi. I don't know the practice today, but Alternaria leaf spots also could occur damage in post-harvest, big defoliation. This is why we should certainly keep some fungicide in post-harvest to avoid tree defoliation. Or could be Captan or Propineb. For sure, we should not use triazoles or SDHI again in post-harvest for resistance management concern, but contact products, basically Captan or Propineb, should be a good solution to keep the leaves good. Also, I remind this good practice of urea. So 2 to 5% concentration spraying on the liter to facilitate the decay and have less inoculum of scab and also other fungus in spring, next spring. Also, last time, yes, somebody asked me to do a focus on the rot issue. So I'm gonna now do a focus about two main rot issue, which is Dermatophora root rot, commonly say white rot, and collar rot. So two different causal agents. On one side, Dermatophora necatrix, which is an ascomycet, and Phytophthora cactorum, which is an oomycet. So we have here a good picture of symptoms of white rot. So now in summer it should be like this. In July, so this white mycelium should be visible on the roots. It's gonna turn later in black, but in summer should be white like this. This disease could damage all the root system, and in the case of the collar rots, Phytophthora just attack the collar. So the necrosis is visible on the collar only. Anyway, in the two cases, root rots, in the two cases, this disease gonna kill the trees in a year or 2 years. Prophylaxis, sanitation to prevent root rots. First of all, we should have a better soil structure, a better drainage, because there's a correlation between the moisture status, too high moisture status, and root rots, all kind of root rots. And also for sure, now today we have to choose also a more tolerant rootstocks. The solution is genetic. About control, to control root rots, so copper sulfate always help to prevent root rots. And you can see that the control are very different. On one side, for white rot, only carbendazim and thiophanate methyl looks to be efficient by drenching the roots area. And for collar rots, it's like oomycet family of fungus. We control mainly collar rot thanks to metalaxyl, mefenoxam, and also phosphatidylal. I highlight also that there is many tests today with antagonist agents like some fungus like Streptomyces or Trichoderma, and some bacteria like Bacillus subtilis and Amylolichefaciens. So could be also there's antagonistic agent seems to give good results. But for the solution, anyway, we can see that there's never easy solution to control root rots by chemical oil, and the solution is genetic again. Unfortunately, we know that M6 is very susceptible to those root rots. M7 is more tolerant, as M9 is not resistant. And today we have new rootstock, new common rootstock from Historia, the M200, and also no rootstock from Geneva, Cerulisa, especially G41, looks to be high tolerance to collar rot for sure, and also should be also more tolerant to white rots. So this is what I could bring information about the rot issue in the country. Sorry. About crop protection from the insecticides. So I focused just on two main pests we have in summertime before picking. So first of all, woolly aphids. So woolly aphids quickly, it's very difficult to control before picking, especially if there is no, let's say, there is no predators balance. So here I show a good picture of symptoms of woolly aphids, and also the parasitoids, Aphelinus mali. or maybe there's another Microhymenoptera in India, but this one is very famous, Aphelinus mali, which is able to control the population. I used to say that there is no chemicals to control 100% of Aphelinus mali, because this one is hide in the roots, go also in the infractuosity of the bark, in the cluster of fruits. So it's very difficult to kill, to control 100% with chemicals. The chemicals could avoid damage on the fruit, keep this pest under control, but couldn't kill all. Only insects, only Aphelinus mali is able to control entirely the population. So why we have just highlight this point about woolly aphids. Here again, we have woolly aphids issue when we have vigor excess or excess of nitrogen. It's really a signature. Woolly aphids it could be out of control when we have vigor excess and nitrogen, too much nitrogen availability in summer. Second point is also, as I said, when we have a lack of predators, especially this one, this Microhymenoptera Aphelinus mali, and also in bushy trees, when the trees are bush and shaded branches. So how to prevent woolly aphids? First of all, to use a selective chemistry. It means in early summer, in spring, we should also explain to the grower that we have to use modern chemistry which is not harmful for the beneficial insects. If not, if we don't have any predators in summer, it's very difficult, very challenging to control this woolly aphids. But today we have also some tolerant rootstocks. I come back also to the Geneva series. Some rootstocks are much more tolerant to woolly aphids. And I forgot to say that also your climate in India with a not very cold winter, also warm winter is prone to woolly aphids problems. So control, so I just mentioned here spirotetramat and thiamethoxam today are control well woolly aphid in spring, but sometimes still it's difficult to keep the population until harvest and post-harvest. We're gonna see later what to do. Second pest difficult to control in summer is red mites. So red mites in summer could be very, very nasty on apple trees that repress the coloration, the fruit coloration. And we should also control population as much as possible in spring, because in winter, if we leave population goes too high, it's very difficult to control. And we don't have today, we have some also resistance and very hard to control in summer. Why we have red mites damage in summer? Again, because we didn't use selective chemistry in spring, and we don't have a good balance with predators. We have a lack of predators in summertime. As we know, also hot weather could influence the development of red mites, and again also excess of nitrogen and potassium also make red mites more active. How to prevent red mites? So to also we should use a selective chemistry. And about products, we could use vegetable oil in summer, so a very few concentration, but it's effective. Sulfur, keep in mind that sulfur also has a good side effect to control mites. And about products, still have to control eggs, mineral oil, clofentezim. To control larvae, we have abamectin and exitiazox. And to control adults, we have many products as pyrodiclofen, but also propargit and Cixata. Just this picture to show that as for woolly aphids in summertime, picking time and post-harvest, we should control pest should be controlled with thanks to the predators and beneficial insects. This is why again we should pay attention to use a good chemistry which are not harmful to predators, to have a better balance in the end of the season. About control, pest control in summer. So for woolly aphids and scale in summer, but I don't know exactly the DIH for Spirotetramat. It should be 21 days, but we can use Spirotetramat in summer. For sure, nothing during picking is available. In case of codling moth, which is very important because codling moth could be very damageful in the last months before picking. I'm used to say that we should not see any codling moth damage. Even 1%, 2 months before picking is too much. So thiacloprid could be used in summer to control codling moth if we have damage. And red mites, the best control I know in summertime or before picking is still propargit plus exitiazox, and to renew this treatment with 7 to 10 days interval to avoid a massive damage at picking time. Anyway, no solution 2 weeks before picking about insecticides to control this pest. And about there is no red mite. There is no control after picking. We should not control red mite after picking. It's not usual because red mice anyway should stop their development because they start to lay winter eggs in September. So we should not have more damage in fall. Codling moth the same after picking. There is no damage possible. Also for leaf roller. Only control possible after picking of woolly aphids, because woolly aphids could make also big significant damage after picking. Also, if there is no control by predators, we could use chlorpyrifos after picking to avoid massive development of woolly aphids. So, do we have question about crop protection? Certainly.
Hello.
Hello. Oui.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Naresh, go ahead.
So I have a question for these Marsulina, Alternaria, and necrotic leaf blotch. This year in Shimla area, it's raining heavily. It has rained heavily, and it's raining since I think May or June. It's raining continuously. So we have tried each and every fungicide which is available in market, and the results are not so good. So what is the reason why this year the fungicides they are not doing so effectively?
Which fungicide, please?
We have tried, sir. We have tried Nativo. We have tried Marivon. We have tried Antracol. We have tried Mancozeb. We have tried Bonus. We have tried every fungicides available in market, sir.
Okay, all the range,
Beg your pardon, sir. Hello.
Yeah,
Okay.
many products.
Okay.
We have not got good control of Marsulina and Alternaria and this new disease, I would say, necrotic leaf blotch.
Mhm, mhm.
What could be the reason, sir? It's raining almost every day these days.
It's true that when certainly we had some most of these products more above 20 millimeters, 25 millimeters. We have the product are watched,
Yes.
and I have no detail of the rainfall from June, and you said from June and July we have continuous rain.
Yes, sir. And heavy downpours.
Mhm.
Is
And
it? We have been trying both systemic and contact fungicides. Such that the combinations are Marivon plus Mancozeb also, and Luna plus Antracol. We are using these, but they are they are doing some control, sir. But if you are doing only systemic and contact, they are not giving they are not giving good control.
For what I know from Marsolina and Alternaria, it seems that
Yes.
the basic product, it means the contact product and SDHI, looks to be better than triazoles. No?
Then systemic, sir.
Yeah, but systemics, it looks to be that, SDHI and also broad spectrum product as we have Mancozeb or Propineb looks to give better protection for leaf spots. But then it's true that when we have continuous rain and rain and rain and rain, it's certainly very difficult to control. So I have no doubt that we are stuck in such situation when we have continuous rainy days.
Yeah, and just to add to what Fabian is saying, see when there is a continuous rains, as is the situation today, one is the working of the chemical, but more importantly, the overall micro environment, which remains very favorable for the disease or fungi. So that's where, I mean, the overall control period gets shortened, and that's where then we feel that we are not getting the effective control. So it is more to do with the on-ground situation typically which we are facing rather than any of the product per se. I mean, very well relate with the situation in the grapes last season where we had tremendous pressure of powdery mildew, one of the worst years. So I mean, a couple of points maybe Fabian can also add. So besides rotating the different fungicide, also look for some other methods beyond controlling only with the chemical fungicides.
Sir, can we sanitize the ground, sir? Can we sanitize the ground with hydrogen peroxide with nanosilver?
Fabian?
Yeah. Sorry. Can we sanitize the or the soil with hydrogen peroxide?
They are asking, can they use hydrogen peroxide for sanitizing the soil, basically to eradicate the
inoculum or those spores which the soil.
I don't have any experience of this practice.
Okay.
but Mr. Naresh,
I would be very interested to if you go if I can collect together some practice. And I would be interested.
but is it the practice?
Yeah, it would be nice if you can share with me.
Nitrogen peroxide is used to sanitize the soil. So what I think, those we are not getting time for sprays. If we spray, it gets washed away. So we have got the only alternative to just sanitize the soil from these they are sprouting. I would say the inoculum where can
To
to convert the time to control the inner trigger, to have less inner trigger. Yes. It makes sense. It makes sense. What I know is that about SCAP, when the world was very advanced in Europe to clean the orchard, to blow up all the leaves and to try to keep away SCAP on the orchard. I want to say that for SCAP, not for Minster or Barcelona, but about SCAP, I remember that even if the growers already cleaned very well the orchard, all the leaves with special machines, spraying also areas very a lot. But despite this whole sanitation, despite this, the weather conditions was prone to get scab, but we had scab. So this is true argument to the climate prone to develop a disease or a pest from very low level could have a blast of just because of the rain or the temperature. So I think yes, we should control the nutrient. But we will do not to ensure the protection of the sun.
So they ask about voliapal effects. We are using Momento. We are using Blue Sprays of Momento. What is the pinpoint time to use Momento in growing season? Hello.
Yes, so you said you use 2 times Momento. So
yes,
I guess
to what is pinpoint time to use these sprays?
Yeah. So the question is,
what is the timing of spraying?
I think the best would be after bloom for spraying.
Okay.
And then I guess 1 month later. No.
Peanut size, when the fruit is peanut size.
Yeah.
Okay. And second spray after how many days?
I would ask everybody else, but I would recommend 1 month later, 1 month to 40 days. No.
1 month or 40 days.
The age of Momento is how many days of the age? Yeah.
What is DIH?
No, the before harvest.
Okay, PHI.
Yes,
So PHI is not a concern. I need to check, but it is definitely less than 129 than it is. So our current recommendation, first application, we are recommending at petal fall stage, and second application around fruit walnut stage.
Okay.
That's around 45 days, I think.
Yeah, so
you will use also mites, scale, and aphids, aphids. So this is what we look for is the best timing to control all such pests. And then the good application should be more focused on new aphids. So the development of this pest, but 1 month stage is good. So 1 month later, almost.
Kishore, you want to comment on our local recommendation?
It means after fruit drop, after physiologic fruit drop.
Yes, sir, I would like to comment. Let's say, first of all, I would like to take your question on necrotic leaf blotch, and you had highlighted about Marsolino. So what I would like to say, necrotic leaf blotch is a disorder where the trigger is around the gibberellin hormone, that is plant hormone, that got triggered, and there is extra secretion of gibberellin hormone in the plant. That's why there are spores in the leaves, whereas Marsolino is a disease. So according to the researches of Michigan University and Pennsylvania universities, so they are getting results by using zinc-based fungicides, like you said that you had used propinib and where in case of Marcelina,
Zinc based molecules.
why zinc, sorry,
बोलो
basically, basically zinc is required for the leaf health. So when we supply zinc, automatically our leaf health got improved. Whereas propionate and mancozeb are broad spectrum fungicides, so they also get control in multiple diseases likewise also. Whereas in case of new experience you are using in marigold, there are already that Fabian had mentioned that they both contain STHI technologies. So that's why we are getting good results in these cases, and in the current scenarios there is a huge incidence of necrotic leaf loss plus that Marcelina. So that's why we are not getting good control. Otherwise, in a single leaf when we are applying systematic or contact sealing. And likewise in case of memento OD, that in our area we sir already mentioned that we are recommending this after cutoff to one stage. Anytime we can use this with our schedule. So this is how we are recommending this bully for bully upper life.
one thing I want to ask in these present situation when the soil is fully it's water-loving conditions are there, systemic molecules there are because of translocation is not there. So do they go in the system or plant system or not?
It's the translocation. It is not that translocation is not there. The metabolism rate was a come हो जाता है because of the water logging situation. But yeah, effectiveness will not come. Then see in terms of contact fungicide, you also need to see if it is raining continuously. The contact fungicide will also have some limitations. Yeah, so that's where the systemic has to be there. And you need to see whenever you are getting
Yeah, sir, I would like to take तो सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अभी आप लोगों को ये मीटिंग ज्वाइन करने के लिए। तो आजकल जो हमारी प्रेजेंट कंडीशन चल रही है और
If you want to share any slides also, that is also fine. You can share from your side.
काफी ज्यादा जगहों पे क्या हो रहा है और हमारा नेटवर्क एक साथ इंसिडेंट्स आ रहे हैं। तो जैसा कि अभी हमारे साथ प्रदीप कश्यप जी ने भी अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर किया है, तो आप सबके लिए जो आजकल की करंट सिचुएशन के अकॉर्डिंग जो स्प्रेड है उसमें जरूरी है कि आप लोग डिसाइड जैसा आपके पास ओपिनियन पहले से है और कोई टेक्निक पॉइंट जैसे आरपीएचआई टेक्नोलॉजी फैमिली ने रिकमेंड किया तो जैसे उनका एक्सपीरियंस है आरपीएचआई टेक्नोलॉजी का तो आप लोगों को अगर आप कंबाइन अप्रोच के साथ करेंगे तो आपको काफी अच्छा जो है कंट्रोल होने की सिचुएशन में मिलेगा। साथ ही लूना के साथ जो है जैसे आपने कहा कि पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट डिजीज होते हैं, लेटेंट डिजीज होते हैं, उस पर भी आपको जो है कंट्रोल मिलता है। तो आजकल की सिचुएशन के अकॉर्डिंग जो है हमें इस तरह से सेलेक्ट करने को काफी अच्छा कंट्रोल मिलेगा। तो ये अपने एक्सपीरियंस के साथ शेयर करूँ काफी ज्यादा जो लोग कंट्रोल अच्छा कर रहा है। तो from my side, sir.
Yeah, just to add, Naresh, when you talk about soil disinfection, अभी हमने एक हमारा फर्स्ट बायोलॉजिकल प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च किया है रामसोनी के नाम से, इट इज बेसिलस सबटिलिस। तो इसका सॉइल एप्लीकेशन है, इट्स काइंड ऑफ आई मीन विदिन द beneficial microbes, it is called as miracle microbe because it has got some fungicidal property. It also has got some bactericidal properties, and it also works as a plant growth promoter. अगर हम fungicide के साथ compare करते हैं, for example, for a disease like scab, if you compare this product with let's say Luna experience, it will not give that kind of efficacy what Luna is giving, which is best in class, but it gives, let's say, around 70% kind of control, but it works very well in preventive situations. So अगर आपको because I also don't know about the hydrogen peroxide की बात आपने की, but you can definitely use a couple of applications of this Rhapsody.
जमीन नहीं मिल रहा स्प्रे के लिए, अगर मिल रहा है तो 2 घंटे में स्प्रे बारिश हो रही है.
This is I'm talking about soil application.
मैं तभी कह रहा हूँ ना, अगर ऐसी सिचुएशन आती तो हमारे पास कोई जमीन के लिए हो ताकि हमारा इन्फेक्शन कुछ तो कंट्रोल हो. ये मेरा कहने का मतलब था.
Okay, so I mean, okay,
आपने बताया होगा कि मेरी के ड्राइव.
okay. Any more questions? Ganesh, Sai, you want to add anything from your side? Vinod, you want to any comment from your side?
Yes, sir. So, good afternoon, everyone. सभी को नमस्कार. Thank you for joining. ठीक है, मैं ये कहूँगा. And secondly, जैसे कि बीच में काफी सारे क्वेश्चन आए. ठीक है, डिफरेंट चीज़ काफी सारे क्वेश्चन रहे. ठीक है, तो जरूरी है कि जो एक हम शेड्यूल फॉलो करें. ठीक है, और जितनी उसकी टेक्निकलिटीज है, जैसे बाहर अपना शेड्यूल मेंशन करती है, तो उसको फॉलो करना जरूरी है. आप इस तरह देखेंगे कि अगर लोगों ने शुरू से लेकर आखिर तक शेड्यूल को फॉलो किया है तो लोगों को डिजीज कंट्रोल करने में बेटर रिजल्ट मिल रहे हैं इन स्पाइट ऑफ कंडीशन जो कि डिजीज के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा फेवरेबल है. बहुत सारे लोगों ने फूड सेट कम था, एंटीसेप्टिक्स नहीं थे, तो उसने खाना छोड़ दिया था या नॉट सो रिएक्टिव मॉलिक्यूल्स की तरफ गए. लोगों में भी ज़्यादा परेशानी में है. ठीक है, जिन लोगों ने रिकमेंडेड मॉलिक्यूल्स यूज किए तो वो लोग अभी फिर भी बहुत बेटर कंडीशन में है. तो मेरा सजेशन ये रहेगा, ठीक है, अभी जो सिचुएशन है तो है, लेकिन आगे के लिए हम लोग अपना शेड्यूल काफी पहले से प्लान करें. ठीक है, और तो चाहे अच्छा रहे चाहे खराब रहे, एक प्रॉपर शेड्यूल को फॉलो करें. ठीक है, तो और बाकी जो टेक्निक्स हमने आप सबसे बताया वो ही रिकमेंडेड, तो उसको आप ट्राई करिए. ठीक है, एंड थैंक यू एवरीवन. That's it.
So thanks. I think if there are no further questions, we are good to close this training. So before closing, one so out of the series of 4 sessions, we are now left with one session of course. So if you want to have some specific topics which you have, but from growth, if you want to have specific discussion on any of the topics around harvesting, so that is why you can connect with couple of days we will confirm the first and the topics. So much for Fabian. Again, very technical, very useful. I mean, I would really say our friend will appreciate this, the initiative which we have taken from Bayer side to bring the expertise and making it available for the benefit of all. So thanks for your time, and look forward to the next session in the month of August. Yeah. Okay. Maybe just one last. Raise your hand. Any comment, question? Mr. Vinod. Okay, maybe by mistake. we are good to close. Thank you, everyone.